Tansy. The creative team at Nickle-eye's Plant Adventures would like to acknowledge that we are filming on Treaty 6 territory at Amiskwa-Skikwa-Squagan, also known as the Beaver Hill House. We would like to acknowledge and thank all the Indigenous people of Turtle Island. We wouldn't be where we are today without their stewardship of the land and all their unique nations and teachings. I hope to honor my heritage and ancestors by passing down the importance of nature and storytelling through this show. We keep our cultures alive through the stories we tell, and I hope someday to hear yours as well. Miigwech. Hi hi. Look at this. All the snow melted. Most of the grass is still brown, and many of the trees are still bare. But it won't be like that for long. Soon the buds will pop open and leaves will begin to grow, because it's spring. Spring is the perfect time to talk about plants. It is when all the plants and animals wake up from the cold winter months and start to grow again. Wildflowers and native flowers are especially important in supporting the local ecosystem. It helps them to thrive. By understanding nature better, we can help plants and animals grow up safe and happy. Join me on my adventure to learn more about spring.
Hi everyone, it's great to see you again. Last adventure, we explored what happens in winter, what happens to plants and animals, and what people do. We talked about the unique adaptations they made to survive in this harsh environment, like how Pika will find plants and save them in a special way, or how plants will shrink down into smaller sizes so they don't have as much to take care of over the winter. We also took a look at the Flying Canoe Festival. This is a festival that happens here in Edmonton during the winter to celebrate Métis, French, and First Nations cultures. It's really cool and really beautiful. I loved all the beautiful lights and the creativity that went behind it all. Then we did a little experiment with a canoe. Could we waterproof it? We did our experiment by testing out 3 different materials to make the canoe. Do you remember if any of them floated? Finally, I actually shared the story of the flying canoe with you. It was a neat little story. I made little cardboard cutouts to tell the story. Now, on to our new adventure.
Today, while getting ready for my adventure, I realized I never told you about all the different parts of the plants. Let's fix that. Today I want to look at these pansies and dandelions I got. First, we'll take a look at the parts above ground, growing on the surface. The first thing you'll notice is the flower at the top. It has petals. Pansies and other flowers comes in all sorts of colors. The ones I have today are purple and white, and each have their own little pattern. Other flowers, like dandelions, are more consistent in color. All dandelions you'll find are going to be yellow. Petals also come in all shapes and sizes. Pansies are short, thick, rounded rectangles, while dandelions have long, thin petals. Flowers are important because it attracts pollinators like bees to come and get pollen. Pollen is the yellow smelly stuff. We will talk more about pollinators another day because there's just so much to learn about them. And today I want to stay focused on the parts of plants. The next part of the plant is the stem. The stem holds up the flower and supports all the leaves. The stem works like a straw and draws up water and nutrients from the ground to keep the whole plant happy and healthy. Now I want to take a closer look at the dandelion stem. It really shows what I mean by a straw. You can see the thin walls of the dandelion and this big space in the middle. And it's kind of stringy as you pull it. You can really make a vertical line with it. Kind of neat. Next, there are the leaves. The leaves help make the food for the plant. Inside the leaves is this green stuff called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll uses the sunlight to help the plants make energy to live. The placement of the leaves is super important to the plant. Plants need to maximize the amount of light they get from the sun to make more energy. If the top leaves are covering the bottom leaves too much, it won't get enough sun, and it'll make less food. This is why leaves will grow in different patterns, depending on where the plant lives and what they do. Just like petals, leaves can come in all shapes and sizes. On a pansy, this is what they look like. Pansy leaves are smaller and have thin veins in them. Veins are those little lines you see in the leaf, while dandelions have big, jagged leaves with thick veins and going down the middle. Now, let's take a look at under the ground, at the roots. This is a very important part of the plant. This is where it gets water and nutrients. Some flowers, like pansies, have thin, small roots. You can see how pale they are and very fragile as I'm pulling at the soil. However, if you look at the dandelion, it has a big, thick root that goes deep into the ground. You can kind of see I broke it off. It went even deeper. This can make it very hard to pull out. I love the diversity of flowers. They are all so different, like the pansy and the dandelion. Dandelion has that big, strong root, while the pansy has fragile little roots. They're different colors, they're different shapes, but they're all really beautiful and fun. It reminds me of why I love the Beaver Hill House. There are all sorts of people live on this land. They look and sound different from one another, but we all have the same parts: feet, hands, eyes, brains, and most importantly, a heart. Today I'm visiting a very special friend of mine. She is very different from me. Her name is Jay Flair. She was born far away from here, across the ocean, in Heungbu, also known as South Korea. She grew up speaking Korean, then learned English. She has unique talents because she is a magician. She can perform all sorts of different tricks. I love watching her perform. It takes so many hours of work to get that talent. Now I want to do an activity with her. Nickle-eyeing Jay's guide to paper folding and origami. You will need paper. I have special origami paper. It's already cut into a square and has such pretty patterns. Today we're going to teach you a few basic folds and a special origami project. But feel free to experiment and make your own stuff. It's amazing what you can do with just a few simple folds. First, we are going to fold lengthwise. So you line up the edges, press down on the edge of the paper, and smooth it out. Don't be afraid to go slow and readjust as needed. You can also fold the paper the other way, widthwise. Sometimes you'll hear people call this folding it hot dog or hamburger. You can also fold the paper diagonally. Find two corners and try fold it along that line gently. Then line up the two other corners together. And just like the other fold, press and smooth out that line. You can also fold it like an accordion. This way you go. Fold it one way, then the other. Fold one way, then the other. The more careful you are, the more uniform it will look. If you go fast, it'll look a bit misaligned. But do what works for you. Finally, I want to roll the paper. So I start by bending it a little bit at the edges, getting it started. And then I slowly roll it forward, pushing a little snowball. I like rolling it like this. It looks like a straw or a stem for a flower.
After we were done doing our simple folds and practicing them, we tried out a bigger pattern. We decided to do a bird. I wanted to do a bird because it's springtime and all the birds are coming back from migration, like geese. It's so cool. I love seeing them come back. So let's start on our bird. First, you need a square sheet of paper. Then you fold it in half diagonally, going from corner to corner. Be really slow and careful while doing your folds. You don't need to be in a rush. It'll make the final bird look more neat and tidy. Then fold that long part at the top down about halfway. Next, turn the paper over and open up that little downward facing triangle that you made upwards. Then fold what you have in half so the two long corners are meeting each other. Now it gets a little bit tricky. Now that you have it folded in half, fold that long piece at the end again over on itself on both sides. Now we got the general shape of the bird. Now you just need to make the beak. push in the top end just slightly to make a little triangle beak. And there you go. You have a bird. It's really cool learning this. This one is a pretty basic origami pattern, but there are many more complicated ones. As you do more complicated ones, be more careful with your folds to again make sure everything is neat and tidy and lays flat. It'll make it easier to make the other folds later on. Thinking of this bird, it reminds me of the story that Jay told me. Let me share it with you now.
There were two brothers, Heungbu and Nolbu. They had a rich father who was very old and passed away. Before he passed, he asked his son to split his fortune evenly. This was easy for Heungbu. He was a caring and empathetic brother that did not mind sharing. However, his brother did not want to share. He was cruel and greedy. Once their father passed, Nolbu forced Heungbu out of their home. Heungbu did not fight back. He just left. He was okay with being poor. Next year, Heungbu was broke. He had no food for his children, so he went back to his brother to ask for some help. When he arrived, he saw his brother's wife, so he asked her, "Can I have some food? My children are hungry." She said no, and hit him with a rice ladle, and called him lazy. Heungbu was smart and noticed that some of the rice stuck to his cheeks as she hit him. He asked her to keep hitting him. As a cruel woman, she did. After Heungbu got enough rice on his cheeks, he walked home. While he was walking home, he saw a small bird being attacked by a snake. He saved the bird and brought it home. There, Heungbu and his family nursed the bird back to health. They fixed his leg and brought him food. After the bird got better, it returned to give Heungbu a pumpkin seed. They planted the seed, and it granted them treasures. When Nolbu heard the news of his brother being given the treasures, he was mad. He wanted the treasures, so he went outside and found a bird and broke its leg. Then he bandaged the bird like his brother did, and then he healed the bird. When the bird was healed, he brought back a seed for Nolbu too. However, this seed grew plants filled with wickedness. They contained monsters that made him get rid of all their wealth, and he put them through great pain. Nolbu realized his mistake. It was wrong to be cruel and greedy, and he apologized to Heungbu for not helping him, and most importantly, he changed his ways. This is the most important part of an apology. If you've done something wrong, it's important to change your behavior and not do it again, or else you'll keep hurting others. It's important for everyone to learn and grow from the mistakes we make, little children and adults alike. I hope you enjoyed the story today.
Wait, one more thing. Here's a neat trick that Jay showed me. So cool.